I want to show you discoveringthenetworks.org, the guide to the political left. And this is just the Soros group, the Open Society group that he heads up, the Democracy Alliance, the Shadow Party, the shared agendas of George Soros. And it says here they have $1.9 billion. And they're involved with their eyeballs right now with what's happening over in the Ukraine. So remember, the people that want your guns, people that want to make little kids have abortions, you know, your 12-year-old gets pregnant, they want the school to make the decision to have them have an abortion, not you. The just absolute evil scum are the ones behind this. So that's all I need to know right there. And it's truly disgusting. Here's Obama's actual quote from his speech in Mexico yesterday. Quote, "We expect the Ukrainian government to show restraint, to not resort to violence in dealing with peaceful protesters. We've always said we expect peaceful protesters to remain peaceful, and we'll be monitoring very closely the situation, recognizing that our own European partners and the international community there will be conscious if people step over the line." And now they're calling for sanctions against the Ukraine and escalation. Of course, this is all happening while the Russians run the Olympics. And so they're hoping the Russians won't pour into Ukraine there to try to stabilize things. Again, I'm not romanticizing the Russians either. The point is they're not the ones starting this, Paul. They've been in a very restrained position, and smartly so, even if they're evil. I don't know if they're evil, but I'm saying it's smart to have the moral high ground. What do you make of all this? Where do you think it's going, Paul? I know you track it very closely from London.
Well, of course, it started back in November when the Ukrainian government signed this trade pact with Russia, rejecting one with the EU at the last minute. That started the wave of these pro-EU protests, supposedly against corruption. Now, Alex, I find it a little odd that protesters who are siding with the EU are anti-corruption, since the European Union is notoriously one of the most corrupt institutions on the planet. In fact, the cost of EU corruption on an annual basis is the same as Ukraine's entire GDP. So they're against corruption in the Ukrainian government, but they're siding with an institution that is inherently corrupt. So that makes no sense. The sanctions that you just mentioned, which the EU are about to bring forth, are aimed at disarming the police. They're taking away the weapons that the police are using to defend government buildings against these rebels, these insurrectionists. So that's about disarming the police. And as you said, it's the geopolitical isolation of Russia. They will try and condemn Russia. And I mean, Alex, we bashed Putin and Russia for 10 years or so. You know, back 10 years ago, I wrote countless articles bashing Putin. He was an authoritarian, corrupt leader. But he's not going to risk a new Cold War, a new global war, for a turf battle, which is what this is about. It's a tug of war. It's about getting on the Russian frontier, encircling Moscow with NATO bases. That's part of the agenda they've been pursuing for years and years. Also, with this video, the guy behind it, the inspiration behind it, Larry Diamond, is also a CFR member. Of course, the CFR is basically a front for the State Department. Hillary Clinton joked that she would only have to walk down the road to get her instructions because the CFR and the State Department are basically right next to each other. The creator of the video gave an interview to the Huffington Post where he said he was in Ukraine before any of the protests even started to, quote, prepare a film on democracy. So he was already in there waiting for it to happen, and then magically this video comes out with the aid of CFR member Larry Diamond with the State Department and the National Endowment on Democracy. So
of course, they don't even try to hide it. They don't even try to hide it, Paul. Stay there. I want to do 5 more minutes with you, and I'm going to come back, folks, give the number out, and get into all the other news we haven't covered. But this is a big deal. We're going to talk about how this could lead to a larger regional war straight ahead. And Obama hinting at military action by saying we don't want military action. Well, the so-called ceasefire has broken down. Ukraine a month ago voted not to join the EU. I predicted they'd go down in flame. You will assimilate or you will be destroyed, according to the EU. And, of course, the EU is run by the same globalists that run us, so it's all one big, disgusting, happy family. Paul Watson, who's in London covering this in detail, up on Infowars.com with videos and other reports. Bottom line, Paul, how could this turn into a larger war, as many analysts